Hello and welcome back to Sports for Dummies. In today's episode, we're previewing the Collingwood Football Club. Johnny, let's get into it.
Collingwood. Well, what a year Collingwood just had last year. After a prelim final loss in 2022, finished really strongly last year. They were the best team all year and they won their 16th premiership, evening with Carlton and the Bombers. And I think just straight off the bat, they're favourites going into the year.
Without doubt. There's a huge expectation across, I'm sure everyone would have that expectation that they've got a team that can win it back-to-back. And they can do it. So I personally think their team has been formidable. Their squad, not only that, the synergy between the players, the coach.
Yeah.
You know, he was a coach that came down on the ground, coaches from the ground, and then their fans. That's their whole thing. Like they've just got this. Well, don't they have the biggest backing and support crew?
They do. They're the biggest. They're the Man United of Australia. But you made a really good point. We are going to analyse the team there. But you touched on, so Craig McRae is, so this side was under Nathan Buckley 2 years ago. Now, Nathan Buckley was criticised, that he wasn't approachable. It was his way or the highway. Buckley did a lot of good things by trimming off the list. Yeah. And he did get rid of a lot of players that people thought was silly, like, for example, like Adam Treloar and stuff like that. And he got criticism for it. It's actually worked. But 100%. Craig McRae, as soon as he joined, Collingwood have made a prelim and they've won a grand final. And they've got two old players in Pendlebury and Sidebottom, but the rest is young. And then you just work through it. So looking through it, I mean, how's this back line? So you got Darcy Moore, Jeremy Howe, Nathan Murphy. How's that for a starting back six? Yep. Then you've got Billy Frampton, Braden Maynard, who finished third in their best and fairest. Isaac Quainer off the half back line. That is as solid back six as you can see.
And they're very, very well rounded. I mean, you've got Darcy Moore as the pillar for the back line.
And we'll talk about the importance, who the most important players
just
are.
Just hold on. You put any of those players in any of the teams, they make a huge difference.
They've got an edge about them.
Yeah.
But they've also got offensively, like Quainar's a great offensive player. Jeremy Howe, after that horrible injury he had, comes back, one of the best intercept markers, great skills. He was thrown forward last year for a couple of games and hit the scoreboard. Darcy Moore's one of the best intercept players in the game. He's one-on-one. Talk about someone who's clutch as a backman. That's Darcy Moore.
Didn't Quaynor, he hadn't lost a contested marking situation all year last year. I think it was all year. I think he might have. Towards the end of the year, I think he genuinely was just dominating one-on-one. You put him out, he just wouldn't lose. Then, not only that, you've got Brendan Maynard, who plays with.
He's tough.
In my opinion, a bit of.
He's tough. He is absolutely tough.
In his shirt, doesn't he have like competitive beast or something written? Like that's, and he is.
I wouldn't want to see him in a dark alleyway.
No.
God, no. But then you wove into the midfield. So you've got Pendlebury, Sidebottom and Markov. Sidebottom and Pendlebury,
mate, they're just
still going.
Like fine wines.
They were in their 2010 premiership side when they were that was a baby side. Then Collingwood, these guys are at the top of their game. Yeah, I mean Pendlebury finished third or fourth in their best and fairest.
And not only that, he has the now all-time disposal count in the AFL.
Ever?
Yep. So he'll continue that. I'm sure he'll play. The guys, I mean, he's a fitness guru. I think he's a fitness coach on the side. So no surprise, he'll probably play another year or two.
But they're not even playing like, as in you see old players that they're okay and you sort of, because they're older, you just give them, that's their age. They're still contributing.
Yeah.
Pendlebury was the top 5 in the best and fairest. It was
Sidebottom.
Side-bottom. Kicked that 55-metre bomb in the granny. They're still playing really high-level football.
And, I mean, Sidebottom, just from a AFL standpoint, left and right foot, just a weapon.
He's got one of the best skills.
You know who he was? Like Sammy Mitchell.
Yes.
Sammy Mitchell and him, the best to do it, left and right.
Correct. Absolutely. And then you've got the forward line, which
Just
which will
ridiculous.
just touch. Well, I actually think it's actually their weakest point.
Still ridiculous though.
So Brody Mychek, who's a great, honest footballer, he's not an A grade. He's not.
No.
He's not your Kernos or your Tex Walkers.
But
But he's a work. I call him like a C grade Nick Riewoldt. Now everyone will say that that's an insult. No, Nick Riewoldt was an absolute star.
Yeah.
Mychek covers the ground just as well. He just doesn't have that X factor. But this guy, he covers the ground. He does his job. He can kick goals. And then he's surrounded by the likes of Bobby Hill, Jamie Elliott. What a story he's been with all the
Mr.
injury.
Clutch.
Well, but he's been injured his whole career. And then you've got Jordan DeGoey, who goes forward midfield. You got Dacos off the wing. It's just fantastic. And then you've got...
You mean Dacos in the pocket?
So Josh Dacos off the wing.
He can play off the wing and then he can play
off the
pocket.
wing.
Yeah.
He won the best and fairest. And then their actual midfield, Mason Cox, Nick Dacos, Jack Cripps, I reckon, is very underrated for them. He always kills us when we're playing. They're just a really solid side. Mason Cox changing with Darcy Cameron. And then that addition, like the additions they had the following year with Bobby Hill, Norm Smith, Tom Mitchell comes onto his third club, gives them that, because they lack contested ball, gives them just that ball-winning ability. They were just fantastic.
Well, from a like you said, didn't you say one of their, actually, we'll jump into it after, but I was going to say Tom Mitchell from a contested standpoint, he was his bread and butter. Just on that though, I mean, you've got Mychek for me is like Mr. Consistent.
Yeah.
I think he comes in, he always contributes 2-3 goals. He mans up against their tall, takes out the tallest backman.
Well, he kicked 47.
And then you have Bobby Hill. What a jet! What a star! You can just turn it on like he did in the grand final and won the Norm Smith.
Well, that's the spread. So Mychek kicked 47, Elliott 39, and then Bobby Hill 33. Yep. Ash Johnson didn't play in the grand final side. McStay kicked 20. He's out again. Poor bloke. Played for Brisbane his whole career. Got injured for the granny, and he's out for 2024.
Which is frustrating. Now we're going to jump into the inclusions and the losses for the players for the Collingwood Football Club. So we'll start with the outs.
So the outs, Taylor Adams, who's been a really good servant of the Pies. A couple of injuries have really hurt him. And I think at the end of it now, he's just not good enough to get in that.
Break that 22. And he's worthy of a 22 start.
He gets a game anywhere else. So he's not Nick Dacos. He's not as good as Jack Cripps. He's not better than DeGoey. He just doesn't fit in. So he's gone to the Swans.
And my favourite, as John would disagree, Guinea.
That was the best thing that happened to Collingwood. So let's set the scene. 2 years ago, he kicked over 30 goals. He was gifted a free kick every time he went near the ball because he was so short, and he would duck for every bloody contest.
Yep.
I said to him, to every Collingwood supporter, that he is not in their best 22. And now that's a bold call considering he just kicked over 30 goals.
Yep.
Where did he finish? As a sub. Bobby Hill went straight in. They didn't even wait for form on Bobby Hill. They got rid of him straight away. He went off as a sub. Gone. Good work, Collingwood. You've actually improved your list. That's a scary thing about Collingwood. Because look who they brought in. Lockie Schultz, who just kicked 33 goals. Collingwood are in a great position.
So how tall is Lockie Schultz? Is he a tall player? Or
No,
is he
he's
small?
not. No, he's not tall.
The only thing I think they're lacking is a tall, like a power forward.
100%.
A big boy, traditional forward.
And that's
it.
But they got rid of Guinea, who's the smallest guy in the world.
Yeah, but I mean, for Bobby Hill, it makes sense.
Yeah, so they've got rid of Guinea and they've put in Schultz. That makes sense. Collingwood, you're right, and we will get to it, is they don't have a big power forward.
No.
Because Mychek isn't like your A grade, but for some reason it works.
Well, I guess they're all very quick, and you come up against any other backline. How many of them have players that are very quick and agile? And you know what? Elliott plays a lot bigger than he is because he can take a really good mark, and he's Mr. Clutch. You give him the ball from 50 out, siren's gone. Oh, he's hurt a lot of people's hearts out there.
They isolate and they hit a lot off the rebound off the half back line.
Yeah.
They have a stat, Collingwood, that 30%. So 1 in 3 times that they get the ball from the defense, that correlates to an inside 50.
That's incredible.
That's an incredible. So 1 in 3 times if Collingwood get it in their back 50, they can transition it. So a side that loses,
is that top tier? That would be
that's a top tier. And for a side that loses the ball, and we'll look at the strengths and weaknesses, side that gets beaten to the ball every contest, that is a great skill to have because you don't even worry about that.
Yeah. No, very, very true. Now, who do you reckon players to watch? Who are you thinking for that team?
Well, this is interesting. So the Dacos boys for me, what a story that is. I mean, you had Peter Dacos, who invented the dribble kick. Nick Dacos in his second year would have won the Brownlow if he didn't get injured.
He's my player. I want to see him win the Brownlow this year. And I think he will. I think he's a superstar.
But that just shows how good Josh Dacos is that everyone at Collingwood voted for him for the best and fairest.
But they rank him differently, don't they?
Clubs do rank it differently. Also, Nick did miss games.
Yeah, he missed.
But that's how Josh Dacos, because of his brother, is so underrated. His foot skills, his smartness, he hits the scoreboard.
Yeah.
Geez, that's super sperm from Peter Dacos, that's for sure. Absolutely.
Well done,
I think
Peter.
they're the ones to look for. Bobby Hill, I'd love to see after winning a Norm Smith.
Yeah.
DeGoey, does he go, what a year after a lot of media pressure from him, doing the wrong things in the off-season.
But he turned it up.
He was
really turned it up.
in
He
that
was
grand final.
instrumental across the final series. He turned it on.
But he's the player that reminds me, if he could, because of his body build and sort of his quick pace, he can go forward and be one-on-one as a forward option.
Yep.
He could be, if he gets it right, be like Dusty.
I was going to say he's the next. He is and very, very similar. Like even their sort of demeanors and attitudes.
Absolutely.
And the way they play is very much the same. So
I think it's hard to go past those three in terms of just wanting to see.
I just want to see Dacos get a Brownlow.
Yeah.
That's why Nick, I'm going to specify because I don't want to underplay how good Josh is because he'd be a gun on his own. It's just 2 years into your career in the AFL and you're already polling. What did he finish? 3rd or 4th?
Well, if he won, so Judd won in his 3rd year.
That was the earliest.
That was the earliest. So Nick was just shy, and I don't know. Judd was awesome. There was a breakout game in 2003 where Judd kicked 5 in a half on that really good Brisbane side.
I remember.
But I don't know if he was getting... It's a different game. There's more possessions now. Juddy, even at his peak, was never a 30-plus player. He was more of a 20 to 25.
Yeah.
I don't know if
Juddy
he
was
was
just
this
so different. Juddy was a
different player.
Completely different.
Juddy was a contested animal, but he was the best outside player.
He was explosive.
You just run one or the other. Yeah. But the thing with Nick, he's skilled. Like if you put him if he put him on the half back line, he'd be the best half backer in the league
by a mile. By a mile.
He copped so much shit. If we all forget this, he was copping so much shit because they were saying he doesn't get a lot of he doesn't kick the ball long enough.
Yeah,
mate, it's like he's playing chess. He does all these little 5-meter passes, 10-meter passes, because he's constantly looking for the angle, and then he goes for the receive.
Yeah,
he is just constantly waiting. And then they had a crack that he doesn't get enough contested ball. I watched the Anzac Day game where he kicked 2 goals, and they were from 2 contested plays from him. He can do whatever he wants when he's needed to.
Thanks for bringing up Anzac Day. I really appreciate that.
It was great.
All right, now strengths and areas to improve.
So
now, what do you reckon? We're going to start with their weakness. I like that we're going to start on the back foot. What do you think their weakness is?
So the weakness is, and this is a rare one for a side of this calibre, because the stats don't support this. Collingwood ranked 16th in contested footy last year, and they going into the finals and were ranked 17th for loose ball gets. Ground ball gets. Now, looking at history, you have to win the contested football. Like you even taught that when you're coming into it.
And there's a lot of wet weather football in
Correct.
the AFL. So if you can't play contested footy, have fun.
The only team this weakness leads to its strength.
Yeah.
The only team that was like this was Hawthorn, that won the 3-peat. they would lose the ball in the midfield, but they had this awesome centre-half backline, Lake, Birchall, where they would just they'd almost want the ball, retain it from the half back line, and then Hawthorn weren't as good as runners, but their skills were better than anyone would see. And they had their fleet of left footers, and they would just pinpoint their way to the forward line. Collingwood aren't as good as in their foot skills as Hawthorn were, but their players are better runners. So their greatest weakness is obviously losing the contested footy, which is why the games are so close. So they had 9 games last year 9 games decided by less than a kick, and they won 8 of them. And that is because they lose the ball very easily. It showed against a couple of good sides. So when Carlton played them, we just made sure we scored. The problem is when Collingwood gets the ball, and this is their strength, it comes down to when they do get the ball in the defensive 50, they don't make a mistake.
No.
They just run.
Well, they're so explosive. You look at, like we just said, their back line is so elite, but then their forward line's very small, but they have a few players that can play a bit bigger. Their midfield just run.
And they spread.
And they're so good at spreading. Yeah. And not only that, as I said in the last episode, Carlton matched very well against Collingwood, and I know now why, because of the 2 traditional forwards. You're taking out your best players for Collingwood, and that would hurt them because I think they actually like the ball going back to then their half back. They push and they attack. As they say, what do they say? The best offense is defense. I think that's how they very much play like Hawthorn, and that's why they're probably going to have a dynasty. I honestly think they could do if they can win it this season, I think they could do it again.
And the reason why we also matched up well against them is our size. And we use it to our advantage. But look at these, like you've got these runners, side bottom, Markov, Josh Dacos is an absolute weapon. Maynard, Quainer, Murphy. They've got so many runners. Like they just outrun sides. And they've all got a bit of heart. Collingwood have a lot of heart.
They play. That's the one thing I
really
love about Collingwood.
They have an edge about them.
It was horribly explained at the start. They just play with heart. Their fans are there with hearts. Man, their fans freaking scare the shit out of people, but it's fine.
You love to hate them, but it's great. I shouldn't say this as a Carlton supporter, but I love it at the end when we were singing it before Kyle. Like it's actually cool to listen to. But it's an interesting one. Their weakness is they get destroyed in contested footy. If you can get a side that can match them on transition and then bully them, they can be beaten. But they're just so much fitter than everyone else.
No, I completely agree.
And that stat about losing contested footy, geez, I've seen them in big moments where that's not the case.
No. Or what do you think their strengths are? So I think
their running ability.
Wait, sorry, I'll answer the weakness. I didn't. It's weird coming into this. I was like, what are the strengths of the premiership squad? Couldn't think of it. And then when you've said that, they're least in, like you said, it's contested footy. I don't see that as necessarily a weakness because I think they actually want that. I think they want good disposals, and I think you've got the likes of Josh Dacos, Scott Pendlebury, Sidebottom, Nick Dacos. These guys are so elite by foot that they don't want and to go like you just Elliot, all these players. Why would you actually want to play contested footy when you've got such good outside footballers who can hit targets, spread the ball, run fast, get down to the forward line, kick goals? Like, it just doesn't make sense. So I think I don't really have a weakness for them at the moment. They're the reigning premiers, and I think they're going to be there, and they're going to be there again.
I guess, and that's a fair point. I guess, and we did speak about it, they probably are missing a big key forward. But the way they play, it's almost
wouldn't suit it.
They sort of play a small ball. They don't play a kick to the pack. And the game has changed so much where kicking the ball long to your big forwards doesn't even work now.
You know what's really funny?
Even as a Carlton supporter, even with our big forwards, you don't play the bomb it on their head anymore because teams play zone defense now.
You know, it's really crazy. The highlights we're watching. So there's a common theme. You watch like Adelaide and these sorts of teams, and you see Big Tex take a great grab, kick a long bomb. Collingwood's got like highlights are very quick. They're very fast. There's no 50-meter bombs. It's all running, spread. It's actually really cool to see. Because that's what I think their biggest strength is, the fact that they probably play outside ball better than
they play outside ball. They transition from the half-back line. Yep. Their footy IQ, led by Pendlebury and Sidebottom,
Craig McRae.
And Craig McRae is a coach, but like all those players they're very smart footballers.
Yep.
Nick Dacos is a smart footballer. Josh Dacos is a smart footballer. DeGoey is a very smart footballer. You might not think he's a very smart footballer.
Yeah, these guys are genius.
Jamie Elliott's a smart footballer. Darcy Moore's a smart footballer. Quaynar's a smart footballer. Jeremy Howe's a very smart footballer.
Yeah.
They've just got a good IQ for the game, and they've got heart, and they're fitter than everyone else.
Yeah. Now, my strength for them would be the fact that they're the most clutch in moments when it matters. Better than any team that can do it, and you alluded to that.
Yeah.
9 games where they won 8 of them by less than a kick. That's incredible. There's not many teams that can come that close and have that many players to come down clutch. I know Jamie Elliott has haunted the Essendon Football Club.
Yeah. Oh, he's done it to us.
I'm sure he's done it to a lot of teams. But I just think that they're amazingly good when it matters. And what do we talk about in sports? It's about winning. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter how many points you won by in the end, you got that win. Obviously, they're not blowing teams out of the water, but I still think getting a win is a win. And that's why they won 18 games last year and did bloody damn good.
Well, and that's a great point, because we talked about, on the last one with Carlton, one of my weaknesses, their mental toughness. Now, Collingwood in 2022 had to come back so many times, and they were eventually found out in the prelim against Sydney, where they were 8 goals down and they only lost by a kick, but they were just too far behind.
Yeah.
So teams were like, they're eventually going to get caught. They have not been caught.
No.
They are so good in these close moments, and that comes back from a belief and their mental strength. And if you look at all the dynasty teams, Brisbane, Geelong, Hawthorn, they almost struggle to lose. Like they do everything they can to lose and win, while the bad sides do everything they can to win and lose.
Yeah.
And that's what I can see with this side. They have close games, obviously. We've touched on that's from the contested. That's purely from how they go at the contest. But they've got such a belief in themselves that they will win. They never think they're out of it.
No, and I think, it's proof in the pudding once you do it once.
Yeah.
If you do it 8 times in a season, I think you're going to have a lot of confidence going into the last quarter, knowing we can do it, guys.
Yeah.
It's like anything. But I definitely think this brings us to our next topic. It seems, the way we're talking about them, they're such a formidable side. Yeah. Are they going to do it back to back?
That has to be...
Is that where's your pass mark?
They have to win the grand final.
Yeah.
They have the perfect list.
To?
Well, of course I don't want them to. I want Carlton to, but no.
But do you reckon? So where do you reckon they're actually?
They are the clear-cut best side.
Yeah.
In terms of if we're going to pick a favourite, I think Brisbane are going to be every chance.
Yep.
Because of the games they have at home, and if Brisbane can just take that grand final form in, but there is no reason Collingwood play. Whether Collingwood play at the MCG or away, they're a threat.
100%.
Collingwood, they have this this mixture of lists. They've got the old heads who are still playing young. They've got a good middle tier, and they've got this youth that's just coming through.
Yeah.
Like the Dacos boys are so young, and they're playing like 27 to 30-year-olds.
Mate, this is what I mean. They're a scary squad, and they're only going to get better. They're only going to attract better players there too, because the elite normally bring the elite. And
they just brought Lockie Schultz in.
But what I'm saying is they're going to bring more and more and more, because when you have a good squad and you have two... The funny thing is, the 2 best players in that team, Josh Dacos, Nick Dacos, whether or not you believe that.
Sure.
Josh Dacos just came off the BNF. Nick Dacos should have won the Brownlow, missed 4 games.
Yeah.
How young are they? 23 and 21 or something?
Well, yeah, Nick's in his second year, so he'd be 2021.
Yeah, I think 21, and then Josh is
maybe
years.
a year or two older. Yeah.
I think they're 23 and 21.
Ridiculous.
They've just signed on a huge contract as well. They both did. No surprise there. You can't get one without the other. And why would you?
Peter Dacos would just be. They would just. Wouldn't you just pamper around him?
Literally.
Just be like, just have his balls on ice, and just be like, all right, when are you ready to go again? When are you ready to sire?
Literally. Why not? Like, why wouldn't you? Look at these.
Have like a sperm bank, the Dacos Bank.
So, all right, my pass mark for the Collingwood Football Club, definitely back to back.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do it.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any other team. They're going to be the first team to 17 premierships in the AFL, which is huge. Essendon, unfortunately, just way too far back. Carlton and Collingwood are the only ones going to be competing.
That would be awesome if it was I thought it would have been awesome if it was... Because I generally reckon, not that we've got a better team than Collingwood, I just think matchup-wise, from the size in the middle, but it's Collingwood's to lose. It's Collingwood's to lose.
100%.
They are so good to watch. And this is the thing. As a Carlton supporter, you're ingrained to hate... I mean, Bombers the same, ingrained to hate them. This side is so good to watch. I love watching this side. I don't hate them at all.
It actually annoys me. It makes me itch. But then I'm kind of like, last year, you actually wanted them to win. Like, I had this... I don't know what it was. I mean, up until a point where Carlton would have won the prelim, I'm sure you would have been like, no, Collingwood ain't winning. But watching Collingwood throughout the year, you just... They were a team that I think... who's the guy on one of the sports shows... said exactly that. He said, I hate Collingwood.
Yeah,
but I actually love to watch them. And it's literally like, I think everyone out there, even if you weren't a fan of Collingwood, genuinely came around to loving the fact that they won it.
Yeah.
Because they are the Manchester of the AFL for Australia. So it's kind of like...
And that's a testament to what Eddie Maguire... Like, when Eddie Maguire took over Collingwood, they were broke.
Yeah.
And his goal was to make Collingwood... the Manchester United of Australian rules football, and he did it.
He's done a very good job.
He's done a very good job.
Any final thoughts? Anything else to do with the Collingwood Football Club?
Well, I think who do they start off with, Josh?
Oh yeah, we're going to jump into the fixture.
I think that's the only
thing we haven't touched on.
They start off, and what a ripper game! So they start off with the Giants over in Sydney for the opening round, and that is how good we just spoke about Collingwood. GWS were better than them for 2/3 of that prelim. That is going to be a fantastic game, and we're not going to go too much into the Giants because we will do a review. That's going to be a fantastic game to watch. Round 2, they play Sydney at the MCG, then they play St Kilda.
Yep.
So they've got a couple... And then round 3 is really for them against Brisbane at the Gabba.
That'll be good.
I think... You know, they've got a hard run to start. They've got a couple easy ones, and they've got an interesting draw. They sort of go hard, easy. So they've got an interesting draw to what they've got. Like if you look through it, it's not a hard draw, but it's not a soft draw.
This year,
and Collingwood are good enough that the hard games they should win.
This year, I'm making a conscious effort. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it to the public.
Yeah,
going to minimum 12 games of the season.
Well, I've got the Carltonian membership, Joshy.
Yeah, but that's because you're a Carlton fan. I don't care that much. Essendon, mate. Do you know how much my heart hurts?
Well, we will get to review the Bombers tomorrow, and we'll see how sad you really are.
This is true. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching. 70 subscribers. I know that's a little milestone, but we really appreciate every one of you. And for those who are listening right now, please comment. Who do you go for? Who do you reckon's going to win this year?
Where do you think Collingwood will finish?
Yep, where's Collingwood finishing? Are they going to go back to back? That's the real question everyone is asking. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, and...
ring the fucking bell.
Thank you, guys. See you in the next one.
See you guys.